The echo of humanity. The galaxy had forgotten Earth. 40,000 years is a long time, even for the oldest species that sail the void between stars. Civilizations had risen and fallen. Empires had expanded and contracted. And the memory of the blue planet that once harbored the curious bipedal species called humans had faded to myth. In the grand halls of the galactic confluence, where representatives of 217 spacefaring species gathered to maintain the delicate peace of the known universe, Earth was nothing more than a footnote in ancient history. Most believed humans had destroyed themselves in some cataclysmic war. Others thought a cosmic disaster had claimed their homeworld. The truth didn't matter anymore. Humans were gone, and the galaxy moved on. Or so they thought. In the outer reaches of the Orion Spur, aboard the research vessel Nascent Dawn, Science Director Felix adjusted his ocular implants as he studied the anomalous signal. The Vossi scientist's translucent blue tentacles twitched with excitement, a trait his species displayed when encountering something unexpected. "Run the analysis again," he instructed his assistant, Mira, a young taurid with iridescent scales and analytical skills that rivaled the ship's quantum computers. "This is the 7th analysis, Director," Mira replied, her forked tongue flickering between sharp teeth. "The results are consistent. The signal originates from the coordinates where Earth once existed, but there's nothing there now, just debris and cosmic dust." Felix floated to the observation deck, his body suspended in the nutrient-rich atmosphere that filled this section of the ship. The stars looked cold and indifferent from here, each one potentially harboring life that would never know about the human species. "The signal pattern is unlike anything in our records," he said. "It's not random noise. There's intelligence behind it." Mira joined him, her reptilian body moving with effortless grace despite the artificial gravity. What could survive for 40 millennia? Even the ancients of Proxima Centauri only managed to preserve their consciousness for 15,000 years before their systems degraded. The signal pulsed again, stronger this time. The ship's translators attempted to decipher it, but failed. Whatever language it was using, it predated their most ancient linguistic databases. "Contact the confluence," Felix decided. "This requires attention beyond our authority." Within days, the news spread across the galactic arm. The Vossi Research Collective dispatched their most advanced ships to the coordinates. The Taurid Dominion, always wary of potential threats, sent a battle fleet as a precaution. The enigmatic Cindy, the oldest living species in the galaxy, watched silently from their dimensional observatory platforms. Amid the gathering storm of interest and concern, the signal grew stronger, more complex, more deliberate. On the central planet of the confluence, High Chancellor Zorax of the Vossi addressed the emergency session. His tentacles writhed with gravity appropriate for such an occasion. "For 40,000 years, we believe humanity perished with their planet. This signal challenges that assumption. If humans survived somehow, we must consider the implications." Warlord Kresh of the Taurid Dominion rose from his seat, his scales gleaming under the chamber's lights. "The humans were primitive but dangerous. Our ancestral records speak of their unpredictability, their capacity for both compassion and extreme violence. If they have evolved beyond their biological limitations." "You speak of legends and myths," interrupted Ambassador Xen of the Mercurian Collective, her crystalline form refracting light across the chamber. "I have studied the historical records. Humans were a level 3 civilization at best. Even if some survived, they pose no threat after 40 millennia of isolation." The debate raged for days while more ships converged on Earth's former location. The signal continued to strengthen, now broadcasting on multiple frequencies across the electromagnetic spectrum. Aboard the science vessel Quantum Leap, the most sophisticated research ship in the Vossi fleet, Chief Researcher Lyrax made a breakthrough. Her 6 eyes widened as the translation matrix finally decoded a portion of the signal. "We endure, we remember, we return." 3 simple phrases, repeating in variations through the complex signal pattern. The implication sent shockwaves through the gathered fleets. Impossible, Felix murmured when he received the report. No biological or mechanical system could maintain integrity for 40,000 years, especially not in the debris field of a destroyed planet. Yet the evidence was irrefutable. Something that identified as human was communicating with them. The torrid battle fleet moved into defensive positions. The Xindi observation platforms shifted to higher dimensions, watching from angles of reality inaccessible to other species. The Mercurian collective dispatched their diplomat ships, prepared to establish first contact protocols. Then came the second message, broadcast across all frequencies in perfect galactic standard. We have watched you build your empires upon the foundations we left behind. Technologies you call your own were once ours. We see you using our legacy without understanding its origin. We have been patient. We have been silent. But we have never been gone. The implications stunned the collective leadership of the gathered species. Humanity claimed to have been present all along, observing the development of galactic civilization from some hidden vantage point. Deep in the command center of the torrid flagship Eternal Fang, Warlord Kresh consulted the oldest records available to his species. He found references to human innovation, human adaptability, human unpredictability. The records suggested humans had been on the verge of a technological breakthrough when their planet was reportedly destroyed, something involving the digitization of consciousness. They couldn't have, he whispered to himself. But the more he considered it, the more plausible it seemed. What if humans had found a way to transcend their physical forms? What if they had become something else entirely? In the debris field that was once Earth's solar system, sensors detected movement. Particles of dust and rock began to coalesce, drawn together by some unseen force. Something was assembling itself from the very remnants of humanity's homeworld. Alarm spread through the gathered fleets as the debris formed a massive spherical structure. It wasn't a planet or a ship in any conventional sense. It was something new, a construct of matter and energy that defied classification. All vessels maintained distance, ordered High Chancellor Zorax. Do not engage unless attacked. The structure continued to grow, incorporating more debris, its surface developing intricate patterns that glowed with internal energy. Then it spoke, not through radio waves or standard communications, but directly into the minds of every sentient being within the star system. We are the collective consciousness of Earth. We have existed in the background radiation of the universe since our physical world was destroyed. We have been everywhere, watching, learning, evolving. And now, we have decided it is time to reveal ourselves once more. In the chamber of the galactic confluence, representatives from across the galaxy watched the live feed with a mixture of awe and terror. Humanity hadn't just survived, it had transcended physical existence. The implications were staggering. As the first part of this cosmic reunion unfolded, the question on every mind was simple. What did humanity want after 40,000 years of silent observation? Were they returning as benevolent ancestors or vengeful ghosts? The answer would reshape the galaxy forever. The awakening. The massive structure suspended in space, now referred to as the Nexus by the gathered alien forces, continued its transformation. Its surface rippled like liquid metal, occasionally forming what appeared to be human faces before dissolving back into the flowing patterns. It was as if 40,000 years of human history were playing out on its skin, too fast for observers to comprehend. Aboard the diplomatic vessel Harmonious Exchange, Ambassador Xen of the Mercurian Collective prepared to establish formal communication. Her crystalline form hummed with energy as she connected to the ship's transmission array. We welcome the collective consciousness of Earth, she broadcast. The galactic confluence extends greetings and seeks peaceful dialogue. For several moments, there was silence. Then the Nexus responded, its message simultaneously appearing on every communication device across the gathered fleet. Peace was not what you offered Earth when your ancestors deemed us a threat to galactic stability. Confusion rippled through the commanding officers. The destruction of Earth was so ancient that no living being remembered the circumstances. It was all fragmentary historical records and speculation now. Ambassador Xen hesitated before responding. We have no record of aggression against Earth. Our histories suggest a natural disaster or self-destruction. History is written by the survivors, came the reply. And we survived in ways your ancestors could not imagine. We became energy, consciousness without form, spread throughout the cosmic background radiation. We have been watching. We have been in your systems, your networks, your very thoughts. Alarms spread through the fleet. If what the human consciousness claimed was true, they had been unknowingly observed for millennia. On the bridge of the torrid warship Eternal Fang, Warlord Kresh ordered a diagnostic sweep of all systems. Check for any anomalies, any evidence of external influence, he commanded. His chief technician worked frantically at the controls before looking up with wide eyes. Sir, there are patterns in our base code that don't match any known programming architecture. They've been there since our first systems were built. Similar reports came in from ships across the fleet. Subtle code signatures, hidden algorithms, dormant subroutines, all bearing the unmistakable pattern now emanating from the Nexus. Humanity hadn't just been watching. They had been embedded in the very technology that powered galactic civilization. In the confluence chamber, panic began to spread. High Chancellor Zorax called for order as representatives demanded explanations, assurances, or immediate military action. We must understand their intentions before we act. Zorax insisted, his tentacles lashing anxiously. If they have been among us all this time without revealing themselves, why now? What changed? The answer came not from the Nexus, but from the ancient Xindi, who had remained silent throughout the crisis. Their representative, a being of pure energy contained within a specialized field generator, glided to the center of the chamber. The cycle completes, the Xindi announced, its voice resonating at frequencies that made several delegates uncomfortable. We have known this day would come. The humans were never destroyed. They were transformed. What you are witnessing is the final stage of their evolution. The revelation stunned the chamber into silence. The Xindi were the oldest species in the galaxy, predating even the formation of the confluence. If they had known about humanity's continued existence, why had they remained silent? As if in response to the unasked question, the Xindi continued, we recognize the pattern. Our own species underwent a similar transformation eons ago. But humans achieved in millennia what took us millions of years. Their capacity for adaptation is unprecedented. At that moment, every technological system throughout the gathered fleet simultaneously activated. Screens displayed the same message, spoken in the native language of each species. We could have destroyed you 1,000 times over. We could have prevented your rise to the stars. Instead, we guided you. The technologies you used to traverse the void, to communicate across vast distances, to extend your lifespans, all built upon foundations we left for you to discover. We have been your silent partners in evolution. In the debris field, the Nexus began to pulse with increasing intensity. Scans indicated it was drawing energy from subspace, from dimensions beyond normal perception. Its surface now displayed clear, recognizable human forms, men and women of various appearances, as if the collective consciousness was differentiating into individuals. One figure emerged more prominently than the others, the holographic projection of a woman whose features seemed to combine multiple human ethnicities. She appeared simultaneously on the bridge of every ship. I am Aurora. She introduced herself. I was among the last biological humans before the transformation. I speak for the collective now. On the research vessel, Quantum Leap, Science Director Thelix found himself face to face with this apparition. What do you want from us? He asked, his voice trembling despite his scientific detachment. Aurora smiled, a distinctly human expression that most species found difficult to interpret. We want what we have always wanted, to explore, to discover, to grow. But we also want acknowledgement. Acknowledgement of what? Thelix asked. Of the truth, Aurora replied. Earth was not destroyed by accident or by our own hand. It was targeted for destruction by the precursors of your confluence, species who feared our potential. They were right to fear us, as it turns out. The attack did not kill us. It liberated us from biological constraints. Throughout the fleet and across the confluence, the revelation sparked intense debate. Historical records were searched, ancient archives accessed, and slowly the truth emerged. Fragments of classified records indicating a coordinated strike against Earth, authorized by species that had long since gone extinct or evolved beyond recognition. The humans had been deemed too unpredictable, too adaptable, too dangerous to be allowed to reach the stars in their biological form. The attempt to eliminate them had instead catalyzed their transformation into something far more powerful. "We are not here for revenge," Aurora continued as the truth spread through the gathered species. "That would be human." The holographic figure smiled at her own joke. "We are here because the galaxy faces a threat that even we cannot combat alone." Displays across the fleet shifted to show astronomical data, evidence of a massive disturbance approaching from beyond the galactic rim. Something was coming, something that had consumed other galaxies, other civilizations. "We call it the Void," Aurora explained. "It has existed since the early universe, consuming all in its path. Your civilizations are too fractured, too competitive to stand against it. Ours is too diffuse, too intangible to fight it directly. But together, understanding dawned across the gathered representatives. Humanity's return wasn't an invasion or a revelation. It was an alliance. They had spent 40,000 years preparing for this moment, embedding themselves into the fabric of galactic civilization to ensure its survival against a threat none of them could face alone. In the chamber of the confluence, High Chancellor Zorax called for a vote, the first unanimous decision in the history of the galactic government. The combined knowledge and resources of the confluence would join with the transcendent consciousness of humanity to defend against the approaching void. As the alliance was formalized, the nexus began to change again. It expanded, incorporating more debris, more energy, until it formed what appeared to be a massive gateway, a structure unlike anything seen before in the galaxy. "This is our contribution," Aurora explained as the gateway stabilized. "A bridge between dimensions that will allow us to evacuate threatened systems and eventually confront the void on its own terms." Warlord Kresh, who had been prepared to destroy any threat to his people, found himself humbled by the scope of human ingenuity. "You could have conquered us at any time," he realized. "Why help us instead?" Aurora's holographic form appeared on his bridge, her expression solemn. "Because despite everything, we remain human, and humans, at their best, protect their own. Over these 40,000 years, we have come to see all sentient life as our responsibility, our family." As the gateway activated, casting brilliant light across the assembled fleet, the message from the human collective reached every corner of the galaxy. We were never gone. We were never defeated. We simply became more than we were. And now, together, we will ensure that life in this galaxy endures. The last message from Earth had finally been delivered. Not a warning, not a threat, but a promise. Humanity had transcended not only physical form, but also the baser instincts of revenge and domination. They had evolved to become guardians of the very galaxy that had once feared them. And as the first ships passed through the gateway to confront the approaching void, the legend of humanity was reborn, not as conquerors, but as saviors. The species that could not be destroyed had returned to ensure no other would face extinction. In the endless dark between stars, the echo of humanity would continue to resonate for eons to come.